no longer need you to eat how I eat. I don't need you to believe what I believe. I just love you. And it was that act that catalyzed a transformation in our life that has been something beyond each of our wildest dreams.
Piatt is a spiritual person. She is an author. She's a yoga teacher. She's a plant-based chef. There are so many things about her that we love. She's married to Rich Roll, so without further ado, Kristen Collins and Julie Piatt.
I'm really honored to be here to share some precious moments of life, and also just really grateful to Lead Health for bringing me out here and for Kristen, and so thank you.
So maybe begin by better understanding, where did your journey begin? Did you have a transformational moment that woke you up to wanting to look at your health and well-being?
Yeah, so for me it was pretty interesting because I have always been a thin person. So I wasn't somebody who was focused on food to affect my weight. I was one of these people that could basically eat whatever I wanted, which sometimes can be very deceiving, because even though it wasn't showing up in the weight, it was reflected in the health of my body. And so I was raised in Anchorage, Alaska. I come from a family of a very avid hunter and bush pilot. That was my father. And so I was raised on moose tacos, caribou stew, reindeer sausage, more salmon than anyone ever wants to eat in their entire life. And actually, in one format, that could sound like that's very healthy. However, in my situation, I was the fifth kid, and my mom had started to work, and I was eating every day at a fast food restaurant after school, and I developed some blood in my colon, and so I had to go in for an examination, and that was probably the first time that anybody said to me, "Are you eating vegetables?" And I kind of thought for a minute, and I was like, "Yes." And the doctor said, "No, not salad, actually vegetables." So I was already 14 the first time anybody ever really even talked about that with me. So then later on in my life, actually quite a bit later, I got what I like to call a gift, and it came in the form of a golf ball sized cyst in my neck, right in the front. And many of you are probably physicians, or I don't know, but it was a thyroglossal duct cyst, which is a very rare condition that, as I understand it, appears in young children. I was already in my 40s. And I took this as an opportunity. I felt it was not malignant. They wanted to cut it out. It was not really an easy surgery. Probably if they could have popped it, I would have been up for that. I've been, okay, let's do that. But that really wasn't the case, and I had a tonsillectomy as an adult. And something had gone wrong, and I actually lost my taste buds for 1 year, which was a very bizarre experience that now I'm a chef, which is kind of funny. It all came back. But I decided at this point that I needed to take my health into my own hands, and I needed to become responsible, because I had just sort of gone along with the tonsillectomy trajectory because the surgeon told me it was no big deal. And in my case, it turned out to be a very big deal. So when I developed this cyst in my neck, I decided that I was going to heal it naturally. So I sought out the advice of an Ayurvedic physician, and I worked with him diligently. The first thing he did was put me on a predominantly plant-based diet. So I was eating dark leafy greens, lentils, no meat products, and I was drinking some medicated ghee, which is clarified butter that was in an organic milk at night. I also took a lot of plant herbs, and I learned a lot about Ayurveda, and the beauty of Ayurveda is that Ayurveda's perspective is that the body is divine. The body has all the information that it needs, and when it's supported in balance, it knows how to heal itself. My doctor also, one of the very powerful things for me is that we shared this deep faith. I had been practicing yoga for about breathing. And so he never doubted that my body would heal itself. He had complete faith that my body would in fact heal itself. And so I embarked on this journey with him. I ate this very specific diet, and I took plant herbs every day that smelled like sewage and tasted like dirt. And probably most people wouldn't have been up for drinking them, but I really was. I really was, because I had lost my taste buds for a year. They had come back, but I didn't. I really felt like I was being given this gift that I could explore the power of food and self-healing. And it was kind of gentle because I wasn't diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. It was like, this is a huge cyst that is never going to heal. After about 3 months of taking the herbs, eating the plant-based diet, and also putting like a paste on the outside of my neck at night, the cyst started to go down. And I had, for the first 3 months, I had hundreds of pimples on my face with like a runny pus inside of them, which made my family very upset, which made people in my life very concerned. And they asked me to stop taking the herbs because they didn't want to see what was going on my face. And I was like, no, you've misunderstood. This is coming out. It's coming out on my face. And as a healer and a facilitator of transformation, what I find is that we just want the immediate relief. We want to take the pill and put a Band-Aid over the top of it. Oftentimes as a culture, we get very uncomfortable looking at the darkness, looking at what the imbalance is. But it's the very courage to look at that imbalance that in fact becomes our power. And after a few months, the cyst started to go down, and took about over a year and a half for it to completely go away. But it is completely gone and has not come back for, now it's been about 10 years.
I know, right? There's so many other things I want to ask you now. Many of us, when we start our wellness journey, we unfortunately are on a solo journey, right? Sometimes we're that outlier, and our friends and family are looking at us and maybe not supporting that journey. I know I was very blessed that my whole family came along, but not everybody has that blessing. How did your transformation affect your family?
Well, it's kind of interesting in my case. So I was eating very healthy vegetarian, practicing yoga, meditating, and after I had this experience, I really shocked my husband because he did not believe that I was going to be successful. And my family was calling him behind my back and saying, step in, like, when are you going to take her to surgery? And I was very resolved, and as he explains it, he likes being married and he knows better than to challenge me too much, especially when I'm committed to something. So some years later, actually, Rich, my husband's a recovering alcoholic, and that's well known. He speaks about that, he writes about that. And he was really struggling, with a lot of the density, a lot of the energy of the addiction that actually is part of your life when you're in addiction, when you have this disease. And I kept reaching my hand out to him and saying, hey, look over here, try this, read this. And for some reason, the more I reached out to him, the more paralyzed he became. And it was a very tricky thing because it didn't make any sense, really, because I really did have some information that could help him. But I think as many of us know in relationships, there's a dynamic between the two partners. And somehow my desire for him to change was having the opposite effect. And so I won't say that this came to me quickly. It was about 7 years of beating my head against the wall, and I tried everything. I begged him, I pleaded, I reasoned, I threatened. I did everything possible, and it wasn't creating this transformation. So I finally worked with an Indian master, a meditation master, and he proposed to me the idea of divine love. And he said, divine love is like the sun. It simply shines on all of us, no matter the political party, no matter the orientation, anything. It's non-discriminatory, and it is constant and infinite. Where human love is like a business arrangement. We make this agreement. We say, if you behave this way, then I will love you. And if you stop behaving that way, then I will withdraw my love. And it was kind of like the 15th ski lesson that you finally take from the instructor that, shows you how to turn, and you've heard it before, but then finally it clicks. And I was at that moment. And so I was really able to receive this teaching. And I came home and I made the decision, and I was able to energetically love my husband unconditionally for where he was right in that moment. And where he was in that moment was eating In-N-Out burgers by the platefuls, drinking venti coffees with 3 ad shots, basically using caffeine, literally. And I don't know, I got it that I believe that we all are emanations of God. We all are an aspect of God or consciousness or the force or whatever you relate to. It doesn't matter. It's not denominational, and it includes all of us. So I called him and I said, Rich, I'm so sorry that I have been in your space. And I misunderstood it. And so I release you to your life, and I release you to your own expression as that force for you. And I no longer need you to eat how I eat. I don't need you to believe what I believe. I just love you. And it was that act that catalyzed a transformation in our life that has been something beyond each of our wildest dreams. Rich explains it that he then realized that he was responsible for his own life, and he didn't have me to blame or push against anymore. He was kind of like, oh, she's gone, now I just have me, now what do I do? So he said to me, honey, I want to do one of those cleanses that you've been talking to me about. And so in the early days, I would have had the cleanse right there. I would have spoon-fed the, I would have been like just really enthusiastic. But for some reason, I said, yeah, I'll help you. I'll get you the cleanse. And then I think some energy did a mind swipe, because I literally didn't think about it again until he asked me a week later, do you have the herbs? And then I kind of laughed and I said, yes, I'm going to get them. Well, this happened like 6 times in a row. And by the 6th time, he was really annoyed, and I was like, okay, so I got him the herbs. They went under the Christmas tree, and the next day, he started to cleanse. Neither one of us had considered that he was going to have to stop the coffee. And he literally was shaking in the corner like he was coming off of heroin. And as Rich explains it, he's a seasoned addict, so if anybody knows how to weather a detox, he does. But the interesting thing was I was completely unattached to whether he finished the cleanse or not. So I was completely in observation, in unconditional love, just kind of like, wow, look at that, he's shaking. That's amazing. But I didn't think, like, is he going to make it to day 2? Is he going to make it to day 3? Is he going to become vegetarian? But what happened, to speed up the story, is he started juicing, and then he took it to the extreme and went vegan, became raw vegan for a short time. And he had so much energy, he couldn't believe it. And he started running in the mountains of Malibu, where we live. He swam for Stanford and was not an A-list swimmer, but a very reputable swim club, swim team. And he was swimming with the greats, the great Olympic swimmers. Here he was in his 40s, and he describes in his book that he had this moment where he went out for a run, and he ran a marathon with no water. And he was 50 pounds overweight when this whole thing started. So he became vegan, and then he inspired me, and then I became vegan after that. And the last little bit, I'll just tell you that we had little kids at the time. I have 4 kids, and I raised 5. My nephew lived with us as well for 8 years. And our deal was he was going to train, and I was recording music. And he would train for 8 hours. He was training for this crazy race called Ultraman, which is a double Ironman race. He said to me, "Babe, I'm feeling really good on this plant-based diet." And he said, "I want to do a race. It's called Ultraman." I said, "Awesome." I don't know anything about sports. I don't care about sports. I had no idea what that meant. I just said, "Awesome, you should do that." So one day, when he came home, I'd be in the kitchen, he'd kiss me goodbye, the door would open, and the door would shut, and he'd be gone. And then 8 hours later, the door would open, and he'd come back. So he was coming in, and it was my turn to go record music, so I handed him a child. And on the way through the kitchen, he said to me, "You understand that I just ran a marathon?" And I thought, no, I had no idea that's what you were doing. So at that moment, this was the birth of me becoming a vegan chef, because I've always been really good in the kitchen. I'm an artist, I'm creative. I love family, I love people, I love home. And I thought, wow, this guy is really trying to do something extraordinary, and I could really cook for him, and I could really fuel him, and that would be a love offering that would be meaningful to him. So I made it my mission, and every time we would go out training, I would create a plant-based meal. And I would test it with the kids, and so every time he came off of these difficult training sessions, he would have a feast waiting for him that was all plant-based, and those recipes are in those books outside. So that's maybe kind of a long answer to your question.
No, that's fantastic. Take us through your 3 books. Talk to us about, yeah.
So the first book is called The Plant Power Way, and it actually, I have to start at the beginning. So we actually, during this whole time that I just described to you, we were going through a financial collapse. So we went through a 9-year financial collapse, and we needed to eat, and I was creating these recipes, and I said, "Babe, could you please," he was okay at Photoshop, not that good, but all right. So I said, "Could you please just put these in an e-file so we can try to sell them?" And I didn't have money to hire a food photographer, even venture into any kind of professional publishing. So we just used photos of our family, because we have a lot of artists in the family, and we're all pretty good photographers, and so I had all these great pictures of my kids and us around the house. And so we just used those photographs, and it was a little e-file with 40 recipes called JIC, an e-file. And that product fed our family groceries for about 4 years. It was extraordinary. Like in the beginning, it was like $100 a week, then it grew. And I was so annoyed because it had some of my art in it. It had some really beautiful photographs that I had done for a show, for a series of these trees that looked like human bodies. And we got the information back from the marketing experts, and they said, "Make it under $10. And I was just like, "But that's my art." I didn't understand online sales at that time. So anyway, after Rich wrote a memoir called Finding Ultra, maybe some of you guys have read that book. It's about his trajectory with addiction through his rebirth as a vegan, plant-based Ultraman athlete. He also did a little race called Epic 5, which was 5 Ironmans on 5 Hawaiian islands in under a week. Pretty crazy. But then we were able to finally get the support to do a legit cookbook. So the Plant Power Way, which is the first book, is a collection of our family recipes, and it really runs the gamut. There's over 120 recipes. There's a lot of pictures of my family. I feel very blessed to be able to commemorate this beautiful life of my kids in the pages. And a lot of these recipes were created on the island of Kauai. We were hired to go develop some food concepts with Chris Jade, who owned a community on Kauai called Common Ground. And so I lived in 2 30-foot yurts with my 5 kids and Rich. We had a rehearsal studio set up in the warehouse there, and I had a test kitchen. So I spent most of my hours developing these recipes, and that is where my husband started his now world-renowned podcast called The Ritual Podcast during that time in Kauai. So the Plant Power Way is an all-inclusive 120 recipe. It has a lot of information on ingredients. Kind of anything you love to eat is in that book. I happen to have a sweet tooth, so I really excel at desserts, and they're healthy and vibrant. After that, I spent about 2 years developing technology to make plant-based cheeses. I published a book last year called This Cheese is Nuts. And I was really blown away by this creative process, because what I learned is that when we have the wonder of a child and when we're open, there are so many different ways to experience life and to create things. I never thought that I would be able to create the consistency of the creamy, tangy, delicious cheeses that I have in this book. There's over 70 recipes, I think over 45 cheese recipes. And if you are allergic to nuts, don't worry, because I have a nut-free section in there as well. Using seeds, tofu, beans as well. So the culmination is called the Plant Power Way Italia. My husband and I do weeks of transformation in Italy in May, sometimes also in October of every year. And we take about 50 people through a week of transformation. And I designed the food for the entire experience. Well, as I perfected the cheese, and cheese is such an integral part of delicious Italian food, I took the technology and then I created an entire 120 recipe volume of Italian recipes. So that's been kind of the trajectory of the food.
Wonderful. And I know many of us love cheese. Cheese is by far one of my favorite foods. And there was a handful of us yesterday that were able to do a day retreat with Julie out of Babcock Ranch, and she prepared 2 of her cheese recipes. And another shout out to our sous chef, Mark Blust. Where's Mark Blust? Mark, thank you for coming out yesterday and supporting our cheese experience. So that was super fun. I want to go back a moment to when you were talking about your own health, and you made a really interesting comment, and one that I'd like to shed some light on. And you stated your awareness of being responsible for your own health. And here we are tonight, sponsored by a healthcare system, but we're all here because we are working on our own health and being responsible for that. So I wanted you to maybe share with us some of your thoughts about the responsibility that you feel that you have towards your own health, or maybe any inspiring thoughts for our audience.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think like me, many of us are very motivated to make changes when something comes knocking at our door, right? So mine came in the form of a cyst in my neck. And what I would like to share with you, or maybe offer in this space, is just that the beauty of the human spirit is immense. And I have come to know that we are spiritual beings having human experience. And if we can start to really receive ourselves as our most beloved relationship, our most precious relationship that we have in our life, we can truly connect with the dreams in our heart and realize our divine design and contribute. It really is a blessing to everyone when we fulfill that which is within us. And so each one of us in this room, like life forms, like plants or animals or everything in creation, is a work of art. And there is a genius, as many others have said before me, inside of all of us. So I think we've been, most of us, looking at food as a way to satiate some tastes, possibly suppress some emotions, possibly its ancestral memories or things like that around food. So there's a lot of eating that goes on that is not in the awareness that this is a magnificent machine that is actually housing your sacred spirit. And a human life is divine. It is an honor and a privilege to be alive, to be breathing. And each one of us, with that awareness, can really make the most of this experience. And so the retreat that I'm teaching in Miami, and I've been teaching this retreat for a year now, is called Beloved. But Beloved is about falling in love with yourself. And so this includes, if we just take for a minute and just reflect on the self-talk that is going on inside your body, your mind, with regards to your body. Usually we're telling our body that it is not the one we want, not the one we love, not the one we respect, not the one we cherish. It's kind of like, yeah, you're okay, but I really like blue eyes, and I wish I was taller, or I wish I had this attribute, curly hair, straight hair, you name it, it's whatever we don't have, right? That's what we're looking for. But if you just took this one practice away from tonight, and you started to speak to yourself like you would your most precious child. Thank you, I love you, thank you. Thank you for getting up, for breathing all day long without even telling you anything. And you know, if we doubt that there exists a greater power, all we have to do is look inside the human body, this magnificent instrument of divinity that we're all sitting in. And many of you understand this much deeper than I do because of your medical background. So I would use that as an opportunity to understand that it is our responsibility to care for these vehicles with the highest dedication, the highest commitment. It's not about if you love double cheeseburgers. That's not what this is about. We are being called for a deeper level of relationship with our body. And if you understand this, then you're taking responsibility for your health in preventative ways. So we must move the body some way, in some way that brings you joy. We must eat nutrients that fuel the body. We must connect with other human beings and find that which we love and spend time doing that. And if we can do all of those things, then we will realize our divine design and we will bless everyone around us. You are completely unique in the entire omniverse. There's not another one of you that can be you. And so if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't realize you, then you will never have existed. There's not another one of you that's coming. It's you. You're the one you've been waiting for.
I'd like to sit in silence now for the next hour and contemplate that. And we are recording this, so we will be sending this out to you guys so you can absorb. I think one of the coolest parts of spending time with you, Julie, is just one sentence with her is like I could just contemplate that for a decade. So I do know, because I have been blessed to spend some time with you, of your passion for purpose and love. And those are two words that I'm very attracted to, and in our wellness wheel at Lee Health, purpose is our top of our wheel. So in thinking of purpose and love, and how it relates to your health or your existence or your thriving, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, sort of adding on to what I just offered, I feel it is a human quality to have purpose in the life, to have connection in the life. We all want to have meaning in our life, and we all want to mean something in our life. So what's happening with food is that we've been eating so much processed stuff. So we're eating packaged things, processed things, and we've lost our connection to this mana that is given to us by this planet that we are a part of, that we share. We've also lost some connection to the family actually gathering around the table and sharing food, sharing meals. So I feel like food, becoming plant-rich in your perspective, which just means adding more plants into your life with conscious awareness and understanding that this is feeding and fueling your body temple. It's the first portal to starting to know yourself, to feel yourself. Many of us have a lot of toxins from foods that we've been eating, traditions that we've carried on that carry a lot of meaning for us as well, that we have to reinvent, we have to recreate them. And we have to use the new information and combine it with everything that we are, just like I did with the cheese technology. I never dreamed in a million years it would taste as good as it tastes. But I think that the food is really the first step to really finding this deep connection with who you You are a divine being and you are needed and you are loved. And so it's really important.
And layering on that, and we've had the opportunity yesterday in our retreat to experience your yoga practice. Can you share with us some of your rituals or some of your inspiration that you feel, whether that's a daily practice or that's just something that maybe you occasionally get to spend some time in? What does your yoga practice and some of your rituals provide for you?
Well, there's a couple that come to mind, and one of them that's really amazingly very simple is a practice of tea. So drinking tea. And I was introduced to this by a Zen Buddhist master named Buddha. Buddha's awesome because Buddha is from Cleveland. And he just knew he was a Taiwanese Zen master, and he ended up moving to Taiwan, and he has an ashram. And he's such a just lovely human being. But he shared with me this practice of tea ceremony, and when I'm talking about tea, I'm not talking about the tea with caffeine that you put milk and sugar in. I'm talking about a tea bowl that is drank in awareness. And these leaves come from aged tea trees that are hundreds of years old. And so we're trying to learn as humans how to live in community. I think we really are needing to learn how to be in community and how to love diversity and respect and honor diversity. The trees are the masters of community. They've been on the planet for millions of years. They communicate beneath the soil. They will save another species of tree, even if it's not theirs. And so this practice of being present with drinking this warm-ware tea is one that I think is very applicable because anyone can do it. You just sit and drink 3 bowls of tea in silence with yourself. And there's no dogma, there's no leader to follow, there's no rules. It's simply a connection with nature of which we all are a part. And in this tradition, it's said that the messages of the trees are carried on the veins of the leaves of the tea. So Buddha started a beautiful community called Global Tea Hut. And you can join for a donation every month, and you're sent organic tin of tea along with a magazine. And you can join with thousands of us all over the planet as we sit for tea every morning. We are drinking the same tea. And so without ever exchanging words, we are connected with each other through this beautiful energy. It's a beautiful practice. Another one that I'm very excited about, and I just tested it on my first yoga retreat yesterday. So, I was just talking to you about receiving yourself as your most significant relationship. So let's take that idea just one dial click further, and let's start to consider that your organs have consciousness. Your body is conscious. Your organs have consciousness. So it means that you can have a relationship with your organs. So one of the things that I developed is something called, it's called whole body communion. And it's a practice to develop a communication with your body as a living organism. So this practice is based off an ancient yogic practice called Yoga Nidra, which is an ancient practice to teach you to be lucid while you're dreaming. But this one, you lie down and you simply take your awareness around the body. So I call out on the recording like first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. So just as an example right now, because I love to do practices, not just talk. Let's just take our awareness and keep your eyes closed, but let's just put our awareness on our heart. You don't have to move your body, but your awareness resting on your heart would be the same as if I simply placed my thumb gently on my cheek. So I'm not straining, I'm not struggling, I'm not gripping, I'm not thinking about anything. And I can even open my eyes, and I can still have my awareness on my heart. So if any of you follow any of the mindfulness dialogue that's been being shared, and know the master of presence, Eckhart Tolle, what is the power of presence? What is awareness? Awareness is God. Awareness is consciousness. Awareness is healing. So in these practices that I'm developing the turning on of this awareness. To actually know that before you get up from your body in the morning, you could give yourself a consciousness bath by placing your awareness in all the body parts around the body. It doesn't have to be long. It could just be called out: knee, thigh, hip, waist, ribs. And so you go through the whole body, and then you can go one deeper. And how about talk to your organs? How about light up your heart? Light up your brain. Light it up with your awareness, the power of presence. So those are a couple that I find very applicable to everyone. Very easy entry on that.
I appreciate that. And yesterday afternoon when we did that exact exercise, and we were tired, it was Monday afternoon, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to lay down and I'm going to start snoring. There's zero chance I'm going to be able to stay awake for this. But Julie pointed out before we began, she said, it will actually really rejuvenate you. And I thought, I don't know if I'm capable of being rejuvenated at this time. We did this exercise, it took us about 20 minutes, and I was so full of energy. It was like I had just drank a whole pot of coffee. I was so fired up. And I was so aware. It does, and it was very aware, very in the moment, and there was like the colors were brighter, and I was amazing. So rejuvenation.
In the ancient yogic practice, it's a yogi technique of like 20 minutes of this experience is equal to like 2 hours deep REM sleep, and this is documented scientifically. So it really is. It's rejuvenating. You can do it lying down. And it's about opening up the communication. I mean, I think as a community, we need to communicate with each other, right? We can't really know each other or feel each other or connect or overcome adversity if we're not communicating. And so what I'm finding is that most of us are not living in our bodies. If I ask you to imagine yourself, many of you will only imagine yourself from the waist up. So my yoga practice, which is triggered or it has throughout the practice this cue, which is whole body breathing. So let's do that right now. We're sitting here. So as you're sitting here, just be where you are, and you're breathing out of your nose and your mouth, right? We breathe out of our nose and our mouth. So now imagine you're going to switch your mechanism, and imagine that you're going to breathe from your whole body simultaneously. So as you inhale, you are drawing energy in from your spine, your eyeballs, your teeth, your chest. Whole body is breathing. Easy inhales and easy exhales. Inhaling from the whole body as one whole, sustainable, self-sourcing ecosystem. You have everything you need within your own body. Feel yourself breathing through the backs of your legs, your skull, your face, your shoulders. Whole body is breathing. So you can see in a very short exercise, that little click of awareness can really change the way that you experience life.
Did you guys think about a different body part to actually breathe through? Isn't that cool? I love that exercise. That's fantastic. I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask our incredibly special guests some questions, but I do have one question I'd like to ask before I turn it over to you guys to lead the conversation. You were really gracious to share with me your relationship with your dad. And I would love it if you would just touch in on that before we turn it over to our guests.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to share that experience. So as I told you, I came from Alaska. My dad was an NRA member, hunter, bush pilot. My mom gave birth to the Yogi Healer daughter. Right? It's just imagine that. So I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and I would say that my dad and I had a lot of places where we did meet, where he just didn't understand me. He was an engineer, and he would say 2 + 2 = 4, and I would say, Dad, 2 + 2 = 22. And so that's a very good explanation of sort of where we went. Now my dad's a very loving man and a very present man. was with us his whole life, and he always was there for me if I ever really needed him. And we didn't understand each other a lot of areas, a lot of frustration. And in the last moments of his life, he got his bush pilot license taken away when he was 89. He was still flying around in Alaska. He probably would have loved it if he just flew his plane into a mountain. That would have been awesome for him. And the last place that he wanted to move was to the city of weirdos, LA. And I love LA, I'm just joking, okay, so you guys know. So he came down with my mother, and they'd been married over 60 years, and we recreated their living room at my sister's guest house. And so in LA, this exists with all his trophies, all the dead animals on the wall, you know, the whole thing, right? The guns. There was all this conversation about guns. And so this is a contrast, right? And then I am who I am, doing healing work and breath work and a vegan chef. And my dad loved my food, by the way. He would always come in and tell me it was amazing, and then say, "How does this taste so good without salt pork?" In the end of his life, I had a great blessing from him, and we were cool. Like, we were good. You know, I know that we all choose a life path for a purpose, and everybody plays a role, and we don't even know who we are, you know, at this level. But my dad called me, it was October of 2 years ago, and he said, "Honey," he said, "I want to tell you that I love you and that you've been a good daughter." And I was like, "Dad, that's so cool. Like, thank you for that. Thank you for telling me that." And I was on my way to Europe, and he said, "You know, I'm ready to die." And I said, "Okay, Dad." Well, I got back from Europe, but he was still there. And my sister and my mom called me, and he had a health thing, and he was in the hospital. The last thing he wanted to do was be in the hospital. So I rushed to the hospital, and for some reason, my sister and my mom left me alone with him, which they'd been his main caretakers. And there I was with my dad, and he was not conscious, and we were in the hospital, and he had actually fought them when they were trying to admit him because he didn't want to die in the hospital. So doing the healing work that I do, I sat next to his bed, and I started to disconnect him from his body energetically with meditation. And then the hospice came in, and they said, hospice is now here, his organs are shutting down. And I said, "Dad, we can go home." And he sat up, and he said, "Give me my clothes." So I got him his clothes, and then I realized he hadn't eaten in like 3 days as we were going through these tests. And I said, "Dad, do you want to eat something?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to eat." So I'm sitting on his bed, and I'm feeding him applesauce. And his blue eyes are looking at me, and all of a sudden, it's not him, it's like an ancient one looking through his eyes at me. And all the hair on my body stood up. And I thought, he was in dementia also, he was seeing other life forms and things. And I thought, I'm feeding my dad, and he's not going to remember this. And he fed me, and I didn't remember. So the ambulance came, and I said, "You know, do you want me to go in an ambulance with you, or can you, like, make it to my sister's?" And he said, "No, I'll be fine." And I said, "Here, take my poncho." So I gave him, like, a blanket to hold on to, and I thought I'd be there on the other side. So I went and met him, and he arrived back and came in, and then he knew, I'm trying to get through this, I'm crying. Then he knew that Rich was coming. And so he wanted to sit at the table for Rich as a show of love for me. So he passed away some days later, and we were singing. We sang in his room for 4 days. We did folk night. We did Yogi Kirtan band. We did, originals, and all the grandkids were there. My mom was like, "Maybe the kids should see this." And I said, "No, we should see it. We should totally see it." So when he passed, my mom and I had done meditation, and we were all around him. And we were telling him things like, "Well done." Like, I had told him before he slipped in that he was going on his biggest exposition. And so if you think about this, when your loved ones are passing, they're like getting ready to jump off a mountain into the abyss, right? So what they need us to tell them is, right on, we're with you. Like, I'm right here with you. And most times where we are is in fear, and we don't know what to do, and we don't know what to say. And so my dad passed, and I asked my mom, what would you like me to do? And she said, honey, just do what you do. So I got a bottle of water, infused it with rose essence, and I got a bunch of rose petals. I made an altar to my father and my mother and their life, candles. My sister and I washed his body with the sacred water, and we swallowed him like we swallowed our babies, our own babies. And we each went and kissed this beautiful man goodbye. And we kept it for as long as we could. 7 hours, we pushed the law. And in the end, my NRA dad died a yogi death. I poured, thank you. So I just happened to have on hand water from the origin of the Ganges, the most sacred river on planet Earth. And my friend had hiked to the origin, and I had this water. And this was a man who had spent his life flying by Mount McKinley, Denali, and crashing his plane, and bending the prop back. And so it was so fitting, his last drink on this planet, and I poured the Ganges water in his mouth. The reason this story, I think, is so fitting to share with you is that he was obviously a Republican, and I was obviously a Democrat. And after the death, my mom called me the next day and she thanked me for like an hour. She just kept saying, thank you, thank you. Like, what would I have done? Like 65 years, what would I have done? And for like 3 months afterwards, I had to pull the car over and just laugh my butt off, because this being was the last person that this was going to happen with in my life. And so, do we know each other at a spiritual level, that we agreed to come into this life and experience these extreme opposites, push up against each other, irritate each other so much, but we felt something and could transform? Is he really a yogi, like in disguise as an NRA member? I don't know the answer to that, but I know that this life, we plan it, we come into experience life with each other. And so in this time in our culture with so much polarization, remember, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And we must take the responsibility to find the love in each person, no matter what their beliefs are, what their sexual orientation is, anything, what their political party. We are human beings, and this planet Earth is our mother, and we all want the same things. We all want love. We all want connection. We all want community. We all want to be healthy. And so that was really, really a blessing of my life, and a huge, huge teaching experience. And I have really been able to let go of all judgment. I have no judgment for any part of this human life, and I make it my mission to cultivate love.
We are at 7 o'clock, so I don't want to keep those of you who are on a timeline, but I would like to open this up to 1 or 2 questions from you all, being that Julie is such a special guest, and I have a ton of questions that I'd like to ask. So, do we have anyone who has a question that they would like to pose? Right here at front.
recipes you would be willing to share?
Thank you. So just so you guys all know, I have a spiritual podcast called Divine Free Line. There's over 150 free episodes online. You can subscribe on iTunes, and you can find some practices and some free support there. I also, I don't have any Ayurvedic recipes because Ayurveda is a medical science. You know, and so you need to work with a physician for that. I would recommend Dr. Vasant Lal at the Ayurvedic Institute in New Mexico. He is a world-renowned Ayurvedic physician. If you email them, they can get you some support. And if you want to talk to me afterwards in the line, I also have another practitioner that I could refer to. Is that great? Okay.
Thank you. Any questions?
What was your most famous book?
My most famous book. I think it's this. I think that's just fun, but I think I don't write my memoir with all these crazy stories, but I think it's this Jesus Nuts. It actually was a breakout book. It did really, really well. Thank you for asking.
I think on this planet, what a lot of us are dealing with is emotion. Whether it's through consciousness, the net, television, or whatever, and emotions are derailing people. So what would you suggest to bring godly emotions into balance, to grow them, to strengthen them? Because I think it's really important right now.
Very good question. Very good question. Okay, so one thing is that we can take the opportunity to remember that we are not our emotions. We are not our emotions. You are that constant solar energy that is always on, that is forever infinite. So if you can try to feel yourself as transparent when you have these emotions come up, and allow them to move through you and not attach a big story to them. Like, why was I crying? And, you know, like, and the other thing that I was talking about a lot yesterday is this power of neutrality. So I'm going to share this with you, especially at this moment in time. Our power is in neutral loving compassion, neutrality. We exist in a realm of opposites. There's always going to be the opposite. This is a realm of light and dark. All of us in this room, we have both light and dark. We have got to learn to love all of it, to love all the parts of ourselves. By loving it, we are using the awareness that love is the most powerful force in the universe. So this gets very complicated because I work with clients and people who are suffering real human issues, stuff that is not light at all. And where do you find the love when you have such violence? But what I would propose to you is, what if you knew that love was the most powerful force in the universe? And what if you were able to embody love, and by your love, you would stop that violence from ever arising again? Would you be courageous enough to love someone or something unlovable if you knew that it would stop it from repeating? So we need radical love, and we need to process our own emotions and not attach to them. Emotional disturbance is the #1 block to meditation. You cannot evolve if you are emotionally out of balance. So I say, give yourself permission. You want to be depressed? Go get in bed. Be in bed for 2 days. You know, cry your eyes out, but give yourself a time and then take responsibility, find a neutrality. And a great example is, you know, Star Wars. When the Jedi Warriors come in, like, are they losing their shit and like bubbling and crying and like, you know, acting, oh no. No, they are on it. They are like neutral. I am neutral, because in neutrality, you can observe the situation and you can take effective action in whatever that means for you. Thank you for that.
Thank you for being who you are.
You just met. Bella, thanks for being who you are.
One last question back here. Bella, thank you, beautiful.
I feed my children and myself lots of smoothies with lots of plants and everything, but I've always wondered, can you grow an allergy to plants if you eat them all the time? Apparently we eat other things, we eat other stuff too, but what if we went all plant, we could develop some allergies to them, and especially to soy is my biggest question.
Yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, I would say, as humans, you know, we like to do these huge, extreme shifts. Like all of a sudden, we only eat kale. So my answer to you is, yes, you could. But the point of eating a plant-based diet is to eat many varieties of whole foods, plants and fruits in their natural state. Many varieties. If you're eating many varieties and you're eating local, you know, our parents, our grandparents knew this. You eat local, you eat in season, you're not going to develop allergies. And yeah, soy is not at the top of my list. I try not to eat it. So just try to eat plants. Like, you know, eat something and cook it simply and enjoy it. Eating plant-based, you're going to see in my book, if you have a look, I have not left you guys wanting, okay? There's extraordinary recipes. But what I would offer for your kids as a mama is that it's very important that you allow everyone their own experience of their diet without judgment or violence in the kitchen. So this goes for all of us, right? It's like, you know, we become plant-based, and of course I do, you know, I'm into preserving the planet. And I do know the benefit of eating plant-based, but if we brought violence in the kitchen, we've missed the point. So again, if you want to help spread the word, which I hope you all do, start cooking, start creating food, offer it to everyone. There are no rules. There's no one of us that is the same in the entire omniverse. We all have to be honored for where we are. And everybody is appropriately where they need to be. So if we start from there, we can invite a lot of people in, help a lot of people, increase and improve their health and vitality. I mean, the studies, you guys have seen the guys with the studies. Like, I didn't come here with statistics, I'm not giving you those. You can get those elsewhere. But love, 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 and more plants.